Hello once again, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on AIW's The Card is Going to Change. Before we get into this week's episode, of course, the obligatory shout out to all of our sponsors that help us bring the show to you for free each and every week on whatever source you listen to the show. Want to thank Angelo's Pizza for providing hot, warm pizza for you at our live events and, of course, feeding us while we record. If you want to check out Angelo's, not just their pizza, but everything they offer, go to Angelo's on Madison Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio. Thanks, of course, to Pollyanna DIY. They provide certain merchandise for us, and they can do all of that for you as well. So make sure you look up Pollyanna DIY. And if you're at the AIW show, stop by our merchandise stand, and you can check one of the custom pins that they've made for us in a variety of capacities, especially the Chandler Biggins pins that we all love. Grab one of those the next time you're at a show. And thanks to Smart Mark Video, who records all of our live events so that you can watch them back on DVD or on digital download stream. And speaking of download streams, thanks to independentwrestling.tv, sign up using the code ABSOLUTE and get how many days free?
Well, it's not a downloadable stream, but it is a stream.
It's a stream.
And you get an extended free trial of 20 days.
There you go. So you can watch past AIW shows as well as multiple other promotions. That's independentwrestling.tv. And with that, we'll get into this week's show. We'll be covering the 7-Year Itch.
7-Year Itch.
Show that took place in December. Our special guest.
December.
March,
dude. March.
I don't know. I got all my timelines messed up.
Yeah.
March.
I mean, it's because of the studio of
Because
yours.
we're in this.
Is it all the mold that's behind all this paneling? Is it starting to
Probably.
affect your brain?
Probably what
All
it
the
is.
asbestos and
Yeah.
lead paint.
So Billy Kidman was our special guest there.
Before you continue, I thought that was a surveillance camera. That light right there. You see that right there, dude?
Yeah.
What, this thing up
Yeah,
here?
I thought that was.
What is this, fake taxi?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
I
never
thought it
know
was-
what you're gonna find down here. You know the 70s paneling. They probably filmed porn down here. That's that. They want to get that real amateur.
You have a fucking Atari down here too.
It's a.
That's
Atari-
badass. I didn't have it when I was a kid. I had a television. I didn't have Atari.
I got my
That's the
dad that.
Atari-
I got my dad that for Christmas one year.
I probably liked it.
Like it's
Yeah, that's
He's-
the
it's
Atari
nice. I got all the
flashback.
old discs, like for the original
It's like,
PlayStation.
it's like a
I got-
built-in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got like an Atari CD and an Intellivision
Oh,
CD
okay.
and like all the old
Yeah, my
games.
dad was like, yeah, we used to play Atari before we went out to the bars in the 80s.
My dad used to play in television with his friends. They'd come over and play like the worst football. And
My dad was talking about
baseball.
some game where you had to like wrangle ponies or something. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I
Lasso-
ever played
They were
that.
just like, like 6 pixels running around, like, oh, this is great. And it was,
Atari was the
I never
first
played
system.
Atari before.
Oh, that was
No?
the first
Nope.
system
I didn't.
had as a
Like I
kid.
said, I had in television, so I
Do you
didn't.
remember there was Atari, but there was another one. It was made by Sega.
ColecoVision.
Nah. Oh, that's one too. I forgot about. But there was another one made
It was
by.
back in the day. It was Atari and Intellivision, which was Mattel, and
Yeah.
then ColecoVision came out.
And then there was a Sega one that was
just Genesis.
that. No, there was one before Genesis, and it also predated Nintendo. And I can't think of what it was.
Predated Nintendo.
It's what the original Double Dragon I think was even
Sega
on.
CD.
No,
No,
that's
no,
after.
that's
I had a
after.
Sega CD though.
Yeah.
Sega CD was sweet.
I went from Intellivision to Nintendo, and then Super Nintendo, and then PlayStation.
Yeah,
So
I didn't have the
the
system, but a lady that used to babysit all the neighborhood kids, she did, and we played Double Dragon on there. I don't remember what the heck it was. Now
Are
I'll
you thinking of
look
a
it up.
computer, Commodore 64?
No, but that's another good one.
My friends had that. Yeah.
No, it was a a system. I don't know. Anyway, into the episode.
We just got
Yeah.
We just did a
Tangent right off
pop
the
culture
bat.
next.
Pop Culture Pete.
Yeah.
Culture Pete video games.
We'll have to delete that.
Episode 4, perhaps.
You
I
guys
don't
just
know.
got a free Patreon.
I got episode 2 all ready to go,
Yeah.
so that's
free Patreon exclusive right there of Pop Culture Pete. So Billy Kidman was our guest at the 7-Year Itch, but on this episode of The Card is Going to Change, we are joined by the Duke, Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham. As always, AIW owner John Thorne, and my name is Steve Guy. I'm your moderator of sorts. And yes, the 7-Year Itch took place in March, not in December. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. But nonetheless, it was at a new venue for us at St. John's Byzantine Baptist Church.
Really long name.
Yeah, I don't know if I
venue,
got
St.
all
John
of
the
those.
Baptist Byzantine Church.
There it is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the correct
With the
order.
giant golden domes that you can see from anywhere if you're driving around that area.
Very confusing to get to, I will say.
Oh yeah, very.
Like the venue
It
part
was?
of it. It's the venue part.
Oh, to get actually inside?
Yeah,
I didn't know where to go.
Because like
either
the
when I got
church is
there.
at the front. Like I was with Eddie, and we pulled in, and we're like, where are all the cars?
I got there late. I was watching fans. I was just kind of following fans go in. I was like, oh, it must be over there.
I was like, dude, I know that we pre-sold tickets, so we're either at the wrong venue or people just aren't showing up. I don't know.
It's like a complex. It's like an entire
and not an
area.
obvious complex like Mount Carmel. Like Mount Carmel, you can tell, okay, there's stuff in the back, and this is just
one attached building.
Yeah, the actual church is so large that you couldn't see anything
guy.
behind
Before you go on, speaking of Mount Carmel, do you want to tell your alleged story that you heard this week?
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right. So when I forgot to mention this previously, but when doing the Dolph Ziggler show at the Improv, I saw there was a security guy there who also used to, help us out at Mount Carmel.
Oh, the Latino guy, the security guard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't want to get him in trouble. I was trying to provide few details. But so
Oops.
So he and I get to talking about it. He asked me if we found a new home, knew exactly who I was. And I was like, yeah, we've bounced kind of from these other places. He goes, man, I don't get it. I don't understand this at all. You gave money all the time. You guys left it clean. It's absolutely ridiculous. He goes, but this new guy, man, he's a real stickler, and he's really hard on this stuff. And proceeds to tell me that they don't know what happened to the previous Padre, and that at one point in time, he was arrested and spent 2 nights in jail over a weekend because he was running a casino night there illegally, and it was not the first offense.
Why am I finding out about this now?
So as a priest, as an acting priest, he spent 2 nights in jail.
That's awesome.
Me and Biggins always suspected he was like a witness protection program sort of deal.
Yeah.
And that just
They wouldn't make you a priest, though, in that. I don't know about that.
I don't know. He could have, they could have sent him off to his new life, and he just came up with this new scheme. But
Picked right back up or possibly
when
left off.
Steve texted me that the other day, I went, oh my God, it's all coming together.
I think he had told me like what state
We
that he
probably
went
were-
to, but I don't remember.
We
what it
probably
was.
were never allowed in there, and this guy was just
Right,
doing it
that's-
on the side.
That's what I was thinking. As soon as I found that out, I was like, well, it's a good thing we stopped selling beer because who knows what would have happened there.
Right.
Wow. So that's the update on Mount Carmel that I had.
All right. Interesting.
But he also told me that not that many people he didn't think really had a problem with us being there, aside from this new priest who determined that pro wrestling has nothing to do with the Catholic Church, which is, again...
He determined that free money for an empty building was not viable to the Catholic
It's
diocese.
just sitting there doing nothing.
Exactly.
And I don't even think they rent it out at all, other than the church functions. Like,
Well, they have quinceañeras and black ladies singing down there.
I
That's
don't think
happened
I
a
think
couple
they
times when
almost
we were
cut
there.
off almost all rentals. Is like what I've been.
Oh,
heard.
now?
Yeah.
Because they used to have weddings and parties in there all the
Yeah,
time.
double booking us.
I know. We got to make way for the quinceañera, and then there was En Vogue Light was down there that one time when Godfather was here. They were all
The
singing.
lady thought I took their headset. She was like, "What are? Oh, that's yours."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, a lot of things happening going
Clearly,
on.
we're
there.
not looking forward to talking about the show because we've talked about pretty much everything
Well,
else.
there's that.
Well, no, we got a new venue. We had an update about the old venue.
Yeah. That
That was a one-timer, though, wasn't it? The
What?
venue?
No, we're going.
No, we're going back there.
Oh, are we?
We are back there.
We're back there this Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, is that where it is?
We're calling it
Yeah.
for the gold is.
Oh, good thing I.
So
good
I'm
thing
really
I
glad
knew
that we all found it.
Were you guys not supposed to tell me?
You're hoping you're going to go to Mount Carmel, dude.
Exactly. Yeah.
I had Duke going to the Odeon, guys.
Duke's going to the party
Oh,
center.
God damn it!
It was in Akron this Friday.
No fish fries.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we are, new venue. We set up. We get in 24 hours in advance. We set up, which is a whole fucking ordeal because they had streamers hanging from the ceilings.
Which it's all like a party setup. It looks nice when you're to like take pictures of it, but it's not functional for professional wrestling
I
at
do
all.
like the lights kind of hanging down. I feel like that was a cool vibe.
Yeah, I don't know if we were allowed to do it, but Matthew Justice just started hitting pulleys and fucking pulling shit down, and I went, well, Dr. Dan signed for it, so go for it.
the gentleman who is the grounds crew guy there, he texted me and goes, "You're going to put everything back, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." He goes, "We're going to clean. We're going to move all the chairs."
Oh, did he go and see it?
He texted me. He was like, "You're going to put everything back, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, we taped off everything. We're good. We know exactly where it all goes."
And did we put it all back?
Yes.
Good for us.
That was, I have to say, I know we're jumping way ahead, but that was the most efficient setup and then tear down our crew has ever done. We were out of that building when the last fan left. We were out of that building like 45 minutes after.
Why is that? It's
'Cause,
okay. We don't usually talk about this part, but so
It was efficient. Everyone actually like did their jobs and
just the
loaded-
people. It had nothing to do with the building.
No.
Oh,
well,
okay.
also there's no stairs, which that's a big thing.
Okay, you just go right out a doorway.
Yep.
You're
Right
good
into
to
the
go.
U-Haul.
Pull the
Good to
truck
go.
right up. All right, fair enough.
But the locker room is a little cramped as compared to what we've been used to.
Yeah.
We've been a little spoiled in Mount Carmel.
That locker room was very
Dirty.
Lakewood Church esque. I can't remember the name of that church in Lakewood.
St. Gregory's
We had the
Church.
stage in that little room.
Yes.
that was reminded me of that.
So it's everything's set up, and we kick off the day with a Billy Kidman seminar, which Billy Kidman was a guy that I talked to a long time ago, and could not get something to line up, and we were able to work out a deal just because Fastlane was in town. He was already coming to town anyway, so he was able to work it out with WWE, and we did a seminar, which I feel was probably the best seminar we ever did.
Now you say that. Did you know that is the first seminar that Billy Kidman's ever done?
I did know that.
That was crazy to me because everybody who took part in it that I talked to after the fact all said it was great. They loved it. They got so much out of it. And then I talked to Billy and I was like, so how did it go? Wanted to make sure that we didn't have anybody fucking off during it. And he was like, no, I think it went great. Because I don't have anything to compare it to, but
Yeah,
it seemed like it went great.
He never did one before, and he had some reservations about it when I pitched him on it. But he was like there for the inception of FCW transitioning into NXT.
Yeah.
So he knows what he's doing, and he knows how to teach people. But some of these guys just kind of don't realize, don't realize like if they don't have like a set curriculum, they don't know.
Right.
And it ended, it went for like 4 or 5 hours.
It's almost like he doesn't realize how much knowledge he really has.
Dr. Dan, did you do it?
I did not do it.
Oh,
Got stuck at the office.
Duke?
I don't do seminars,
Oh.
No.
but I was also at work anyway.
I heard you did one once. That was a tryout.
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it went very good. I think it was for sure our best seminar. And then Billy is free to go after. The deal is he's going to do the seminar, he's going to do the meet and greet at the beginning, and then he's free to go. Billy Kidman does not leave. Billy Kidman, fast forward, doors are open, everything. The meet and greet is gone on. We're getting ready to start, and he comes back. He grabs me. He says, "Hey, can I have a lineup?" I give him a lineup, and he goes and he sits in the crowd and he takes notes on every single match, and watches the entire show, and then gives every single performer, whether they did the seminar or not, feedback.
Yeah, he was a pretty incredible guy to have there, which was great. And we did not get out of there to the after party until so late because we kept talking to Billy Kidman about different stuff, about just running a show in general, the input that he had.
Yeah, and I was asking him all kinds of stuff, and he was just giving me some just like mind-blowing advice that I'm not going to give away for free on this podcast. But like it was such simple things that I was like, and it's just WWE stuff,
Right.
that you just never think of at an independent level. And he couldn't have been a better dude either. Like he could have came in, got his money, that was our agreement, and left. And he did not. He stayed, watched everything, stayed at the end, like gave every single person feedback. And yeah, he was probably at that building from 2 p.m. until close to like 12:30 a.m.
Oh yeah, definitely. He easily one of our better. I feel like we say that all the time, but one of our best guests in
Did
general.
he go to the after party?
He did not.
attend the after party. I think he had a big day ahead the next day. I don't know.
Well, no, he was off
Not
the next
really.
day.
Actually, he was off. Yeah, he was off until Sunday.
But his hotel was in the opposite direction of where we were going. So plus it was a super long day
Or
for
was
him.
it Nax again?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're at Nax for the after party.
we'll be at Next again this Friday night. Correct, Dan?
We will.
My
Little plug.
my 7-year age also started. Speaking of new venue, Monsoon was off that day. He was busy. Couldn't pick up all the concessions.
Oh yeah,
So old Eddie
he had,
Kingston
he had
and
a
I-
work. He had a work meeting.
Old Eddie
Works?
Yeah, who knew? Old Eddie Kingston and I had to roll through the local Gordon Food Services and try to find all the stuff that Monsoon. I got the Monsoon list, 64 hot dogs that come in a package or
quality
whatever.
all beef.
Yeah.
No expenses spared hot dogs.
Yeah.
That's a Biggins rule. All beef.
It was
Looking
so-
at that shopping list was hilarious. Like looking at the exact like number, like it's in this aisle. You're gonna find
A
it. here.
giant
Like,
can of nacho cheese.
He didn't have the aisles. That was the biggest problem. Eddie and I like going through there, and I'm like, fucking, this probably takes Monsoon 5 minutes or 10 minutes. He knows exactly where everything is, and it took us like an hour.
I'm sure you could look it up online exactly what aisle and what like bay. It's like I bet
have
GFS is
that?
like Home Depot at this point. You can like punch in what you need,
Find the
and
bay.
it'll have it exactly there.
GFS can't be that big.
There's so much stuff there.
It's like not like you're going to Walmart.
There's not like the problem was there wasn't an exact order to it. You know what I mean? So like if I'm in the aisle and I'm looking for napkins, you would think that then I could find like paper plates and silverware in that same aisle. No, they're like 2 aisles down.
Well, napkins
with a
starts
bunch
with
of other
N.
shit.
Yeah.
It's not
And paper plate.
alphabetical.
Well, maybe that's how they do it. I
That's
don't
true.
know.
Maybe that is how they do
Yeah.
it. That's a good
So
point.
You're poo-pooing it right away.
Yeah,
You don't
you're
even
right.
know.
You're right. You're right.
Fucking Steve guy.
Sorry to have done that to you, Duke. Yeah, that's a fair point. You're
Thank
right. Chips were like the different chips were not in the same aisle as like he makes you buy like the little gummy snack things.
Yeah, he has very specific things.
The fruit chew
Fruit
things.
snacks, combos, cookies, grandma's cookies.
And none of those things were in the same aisle either,
No.
which was mind-boggling. Like,
mean,
come on, you gotta be kidding me.
They don't call it shopping for nothing.
It's job security. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Monsoon isn't giving away all his secrets for free either.
No, that's a good
My
call.
my day was Hornswoggle shooting vignettes for him for all his WrestleMania matches. Which,
Oh yeah.
if anyone subscribes to the Patreon, I made a vlog that is exclusive to the Patreon of all the outtakes and the entire day of mine and Hornswoggle. So I won't give away too much of that. But
Forgot Eddie Kingston and I also recorded our first episode of The King and Guy that day too.
Steve Guy's like a one-upper, you know. Whenever you got a
It's a good
story,
time.
he's just one-upping.
I know. Yeah. Oh, I work with people like that, or I used to.
The one.
Oh, you had cancer? Oh, my cancer was way worse than your
You
cancer.
can't one up. You can't one up.
you're with-
Hornswoggle vignettes. I just
You're with Swoggle. I was with Eddie Kingston at
Those are
Gordon's
mine.
Food Service.
Yeah.
why is Eddie Kingston
Lost looking for fruit snacks.
why is Eddie Kingston a one up
Kingston,
up on Swoggle?
Kingston
Because he's
lost in the
taller?
grocery store, guys. Check out the vlog.
You missed out.
Did you
should've
bring
been,
your own
you should have
camera
been
for
filming
that?
Eddie the whole time looking for this stuff. You would've-
I should have.
a classic promo.
You're right. That would have been great for that. Listen, if I really wanted to up you, I would have talked about our day the next day with Dr. Dan, but I'm not going to get into that.
Let's get into the show. We're already 20 minutes in.
It's been a
telling you,
it's been a wonderful day together.
I'm just gonna come on and say it. I fucking hated this show. I know I'm supposed to like really rah on this podcast. I hated this fucking show. It seemed like nothing clicked at all. It's like a 2.5 match show in my opinion, which we'll get to those 2.5 matches.
I have recollection
well,
of two matches.
I think
I hated ours, and I commentated on Swoggles, and it wasn't very good either. And then I had to leave and go to work.
I hated this show. I halfway think because Billy Kidman was critiquing people, it made people a little.
But they didn't know.
They're a little on edge.
They knew.
It's
People
true.
knew.
People knew.
People knew. Yeah,
I didn't know.
I think.
I didn't know.
I think it just made people a little different. I don't know. You know, like because that's the weird thing about seminars is when you're getting this feedback, it's like some of it you're going to apply, some of it you're not. But like if that guy's sitting there watching you that just gave you that feedback, I think it can make you feel a certain kind of way about how you're about to perform. And that is what I'm going with is people just felt a certain kind of way because Billy Kidman was there and he's a lot of people don't realize how high ranking of a guy Billy Kidman is in the WWE system.
Right.
He is very, very up there. Not saying that he can get you a job or anything like that, but he is, he is up there, and especially with the job that he does. So I don't know. I did not like the show at all. It just seems like so much stuff did not click.
It also seemed like we were doing so well. So we got the headsets and all those rocking, and we were doing great with times for however many shows before that. And everything just fucking flies out the window in this show in terms of times, which to me, Billy Kidman's watching you. And if you were aware of that, you would stick to your time because you know he has that sheet in front of you that says
the first
time.
match just goes over. And then
So first match is the scramble. And I remember the big takeaway to me in a conversation with you post show or after this match. Do you remember what he said?
Yeah, that scramble made me decide to not put a scramble on WrestleMania weekend. like that. There was always a chance that we were gonna open with an unadvertised scramble in Jersey City, and after watching this one and it going overtime, I went knowing that we kind of had a gun to our head on time for Jersey. I went, there's absolutely no way I'm adding a scramble because this just didn't, it went overtime when it was already given a lot of time, and it was just once we started off like that, it was just kind of all downhill from there.
So you mentioned people maybe being on edge because Billy Kidman's there. Do you think that the opposite is also true in that, or could be true in that because he was there, every single person wanted to make sure they got every single thing in?
Maybe in the scramble, but not later on.
Okay.
It just did not click, and I'm trying, like, this is like, okay, like, we have 2 shows before Jersey, like, let's fucking get it going tight, and
right.
This match was not tight.
It was not.
You were in this match,
in the least.
Dr. Dan.
Yes, it was. When I know we're inside baseball here, but when I heard 2 minutes left, and I knew we were nowhere near the end, I went, "Yep, all right, we're going way over." I just knew right in my head because I heard the time called, and I was like, this is gonna be rough.
Is you, Facade, Trey Lamar, AJ Gray, Wheeler, and Danhausen.
And Danhausen, I got licked. That was weird.
There's a few guys in there that like to get all their shit in. I mean, and if nobody says anything, then that's what happens.
We did have a scary moment. A couple guys went into the crowd. We make sure.
Trey Lamar didn't even know he was on the show when he walked in the building. I'm like, "Where's your stuff?" And he looked at me and goes, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "We are first, Trey. What do you mean? What do I mean?"
Yeah. And
wait. Oh, sorry. Then he just runs out to his car. He had no idea. Luckily, he brought his stuff that day.
At least he had his stuff, yeah.
He got his nose busted at one point in that match.
He did.
I remember that. I remember he rolls out sitting in front of me, and I just looked down, and it's just bleeding from his nose. I'm like, oh, all right, that's a thing. I don't know what happened there.
New canvas. Already got blood on it.
I think it already had blood on it at that point.
Yeah, so I mean, I just, this just kind of sets the tone for me to just not enjoy the show. And I mean, I'm sure the match is fine, but it's like I was looking at it more from a managerial standpoint this entire show, and it just, it could have been better probably, but also the timing and all this other stuff, and I just it put me into a super stressed out mode because I was like, there's absolutely no way that we can add a match in Jersey.
So the next match we go into is a women's match. Alley Cat and we have a debut with us, and Alex Gracia, who we talked about leading up to the show. Saw some of her clips doing Stardom stuff in Japan, and so we had some people who were excited about her coming in.
Alley Cat, the new ace.
Alley Cat, is she kind of your measuring stick with females at this point? You know what I mean?
She would
like
she would probably like
She would say that. Yeah.
She would probably like me to say that. Yeah,
like she's become the Lewis Linden for females. Like, we don't know how they are. Let's put her with Alley Cat.
That's a bold statement, Steve.
I mean, it's like how many girls are around at this point,
right?
Like, yeah, she Alley Cat, the new ace. That'll be a T-shirt, huh?
Yeah, why not?
AIW Ace, Alley Cat. They this another one. Some stuff clicks, some stuff does not click, and that's kind of the risk you take though with bringing in a new talent, and just kind of throwing it out there and seeing what happens. Some people really enjoyed the match. Some people really did not enjoy the match. Like it was not a 5-star classic. It wasn't the most awful match of all time. It was, probably middle ground somewhere. But expectation-wise, obviously, when you're bringing in an unknown talent all the way from Texas, you kind of have higher expectations. Mm-hmm. I guess when all you're seeing is gifts, that's kind of what you're expecting, and some of the timing was just off, and like I said, I just this show just something was just off all around all night.
So then we go into the tag match, which Duke has already expressed not good feelings about. pee at me, Duke money.
I have also not good feelings about this. I'll say it right now. Like, when you're putting a 4-team tag out there, there's a certain expectation about what it's going to be. I think some people decided we're going to do something. We're going to do something else, and it was something else.
We have the production in there too.
Can you expound upon that? And I maybe can say yay or nay or whatever, because I was a little more in tune with what was going on.
Well, I think, obviously the expectation is for lack of a better terminology, is a fucking car crash stunt show of 4 teams, a sprint. This was not a sprint. It was not, and that was one of the first things that kind of threw it off the rails. Was it kind of started out that way? And then there's no crescendo to this match.
No, it started to go there, and then
it flattens.
It turned into a really, really, really long segment that wasn't. I don't think it was supposed to be that long, and didn't need to be that long.
And I think,
did something happen?
No,
nothing happened. Okay. That's the way that it was called.
What I think happened is, I think because there's a segment later on to set up Jersey, I think everyone wanted to save their shit for this run-in segment later. And then this just turns into a very long, like, nothing match instead, to where if that's how these guys wanted to do it, they could have, instead of going whatever the allotted time was, they could have went a hot 6 and got in and got out, and then later on when there's all these run-ins and there's this angle,
right,
and they're fucking doing these waterfall spots going into the next thing, I think that would have been better.
Did they do all that later?
Yeah, they
did a bunch of like double tag team spots.
Yeah, they do all their spots late.
I wasn't there for that. I have no idea, but it just, and that was never discussed when we were talking about it, and it was just that middle part. It got really slow, and I think it just messed everybody up. Because it was just like, I think everybody except for the one set of guys was kind of like, we got to kind of pick this up. We're not really doing anything, and then it just kind of fell apart.
And I think that's more of like, hey, Billy Kidman's here, let's show him that we can work. And it's like,
maybe, I don't know.
I get that mindset, but it's like, you have to. You got to do what everyone in that match knew what the expectation is. Even a guy like Jock Sampson would know what the expectation is when you're in a 4-way tag match. And I'm not singling him out. I'm just using him as an example because he's probably the lesser of the acrobatic of everybody. And it just does not turn out what I put down on paper and envisioned is not what happens.
I think maybe had you got everybody and said if they're going to do all this shit at the end,
which
I don't know if you did or not.
I did not, but I thought, and that's just me not, I guess, being thorough enough. I thought that we've done enough of these over the years that the expectation is there of what it's supposed to be and why it's there, and it isn't there.
So does this make you go into kind of shifting gears a little bit? Because as a promoter, I guess for lack of better terms, we've kind of been spoiled for a year and a half, 2 years now, where these matches have been going well and everything kind of has been at expectations, the very least, or exceeding. And do you think that this kind of puts you into the mindset of like, all right, I got to be even more involved? Because you did kind of give a long leash to a lot of these shows as they've been happening. Are you going to rein things in more, or do you feel like maybe you
I'm
should?
very well, and I was just very the reaction to this is I was very thorough for Jersey City.
Sure.
And what I wanted, and telling specifically Colin and Cheech, like, hey, this is, and they end up going undertime. Like that match
Yeah.
in Jersey City goes like 6.5 minutes.
I was going to
bell
say,
to
it
bell.
felt like
And
it
it's
went about 5 minutes.
And
yeah.
but it's like everything, you
Yeah.
know, like boom, boom, boom. Nobody realizes it's 6.5 minutes, and that's better than like I just think on an indie show where like it works in some indie shows, but like an AIW show where you're going to see a lot. I just don't think like heat segments and like drawn out things work unless it's, you know, like a traditional tag possibly.
Sure.
And that's kind of what I was referring to, is that it just kind of fell apart in the middle. So whatever. Nobody bats 1,000.
Yeah.
And this show, I mean, this show was a wake up call in like, hey, we're not batting 1,000. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like this is, and I hate to dwell on it, and it's probably going to tank the sales on it, but like this is just like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like nothing is working tonight.
Well, and
Well, let's see if the next one works.
to the point, you know, this could be, we dissect everything so intently that, look, watch it back and maybe it's not how we thought. The next match, I think, is something that works. To me, this is one that for me exceeded expectation. Tim Donst, Tom Lawler, and we go to a 20-minute draw.
And it works, but based on how the show was going, this was booked specifically to piss the fans off with the finish.
Yeah.
And it went like, okay, now here's something that's working, but the finish is going to fuck it. And
They were pissed off.
They were not happy.
They were very angry.
and that's where I'm like, you know, like that's why I say it's a 2.5 match show, because if this match has a straight finish, it's great. They work very well together. But knowing the finish, I knew that, you know, no matter, it was meant to fucking build to the Jersey City main event and get, you know, get the 4-way there. But I just knew, you know, based on how the show was going, that this is just, you know, these, you know, just kind of piling on,
Yeah.
you know, to, you know, just more bad stuff, which this is intended to be to get this reaction. But when you put it on like a show that's already not clicking, it's bad.
This match, I legitimately had people afterwards trying to tell me that that match only went 10 to 12 minutes. They're like, there's no way that 20 minutes just happened. I was like, no, that's...
They actually went over, and I fucked up. And when I call the time, they had like one more thing to do, but it was already over 20.
Okay.
So it goes over. You know, it's over. It's like 20 in like 30 seconds, or
Yeah.
21 maybe. And they were like, "You called it too soon." I'm like, "Dude, it was 20." Like,
Yeah. It was... I enjoyed this one, though. I really did. Even down to, like, you know, not knowing what's coming, obviously, but I sensed that it was going to somehow catch people off guard, and it did. And I thought that people would be annoyed, but I guess I didn't think that people would be as pissed off as they were, and people were furious.
Well, people don't like that.
Yeah.
People don't like investing 20 minutes of their time in something that a lot of people, and two guys that people have very strong opinions about,
Right.
and they don't like to have the rug pulled out from under them at the end and be like, maybe we'll give you something later. Because basically they feel like they just wasted 20 minutes of their life and there's no resolution. So,
People wanted them
yeah,
to keep
I mean,
going. But it was entertaining as hell.
That's why it works.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
and it was that way by design. It just sucks
Yeah.
that the rest of the show wasn't going well.
Well, not to, you know, put more into you, but the next match is Swoggle versus Big Twan Tucker. How'd that one go for you?
Oof.
Not good. Not good.
I had fun commentating it.
Did you?
Yeah.
What was your favorite moment? One of my favorites is when Big Twan just gives him the boot and knocks him right down on his ass.
Was there a moment when Twan was on the top rope? And I think I may have called. Was he up on the top rope or the
Yeah,
second rope?
that's what I was talking about.
He's
'cause
probably up on the second.
Second rope. I think I made a biplane reference with Swoggle. Like,
Okay.
I think like some sort of King Kong joke.
This is another one that could have been great. and I don't know what it is, if guys just we're not communicating properly all day long or what, but there's just, this one goes bad. Swoggle's all upset when it's over. This match leads to Twan getting pulled off of everything. He gets taken off of Wrestle Rave and replaced with Wardlow. Little spoiler, I have a graphic. It was Zach Thomas versus Big Twan Tucker. And this match ends, and I book Wardlow almost instantly. And take Twan. Like I said, I had already determined that there's going to be no scramble or no additional matches added to Jersey City. This just cements that. It sucks for Twan because he is one of the guys that does come on the trip to Jersey and devotes his time. But I let him know. I said, you have to come to training. You guys can't just be wrestling once a month and expect to be fucking crisp. You just don't have none of these students have the ring, I guess, savviness to just be able to go out there and go.
Is that what it is for him? I mean, Dan, you're at training all the time. It's getting the repetitions.
Yeah, it's
right.
Well, you can't not go to training.
Yeah,
and then expect to have a
good match,
indie-rific.
Not even indie-rific,
kind of match. I mean,
it's your timing with everything. You have to practice what you're doing. It's like a baseball player or a basketball. You have to have your timing down. You have to do your reps. Because if I miss a day of training, I can tell. The next day, I'm like, oh, I'm a tad off. It goes. It's that constant repetition of always being at training, always. Not even as long as having ring time. That's the biggest thing. You don't got to go and take 1,000 bumps, but
it's also pulling back the curtain here a bit. But it's also the repetition of in your mind. Okay, I'm working the left, right? I'm not going on the right. As opposed to you're in that moment and now
it's
you
knowing where you are.
It's
It's understanding where you need to be. It's understanding how to put things together. Twan's biggest problem really is Twan. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it because I shouldn't be shitting on people on podcasts. If I should tell Twan.
I was gonna say, but you can help him.
It's like anything, Steve. If you hit the punchline of a joke wrong,
sure,
it's not going to go over well. It's the same thing.
Well, I've never hit the punchline of a joke correctly, so there's that.
I laughed.
Most honest thing you ever said on this podcast.
I laughed when we went and saw you last year.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Yeah. So this just it's a dance. It's two people. Swoggle also probably not on his game at that 100% either, but more so I'm gonna put the blame on Twan because Twan isn't the guy that was in the WWE, and for better or for worse, that's the way that the cards are gonna fall for any student in any situation, and they have to realize that, and it's just you gotta take your licks, and you have to try to improve yourself. And Twan was, I've had several conversations with Twan since this match, and I think he understands, what happened and why he was taken off shows, and at least in a wrestling capacity at this point.
So from one student having a rough go to another student trying to prove himself, and to me, doing a great job of it. Our next match we go to is Zach Thomas and Eddie Kingston.
This is my one. This is one right here.
This is it.
This is one of the 2.5. So
okay.
We're at 1.5 of the matches that I liked right now, and Zach is doing very very good, but he's another guy that could he could stand to come to training more, and
sure,
because he is a guy that is right on the cusp, of being very good, and he's getting a lot of opportunities because of that. But it's, and I know last week Dom had like a come to Jesus meeting with the entire school, and I was unable to go because of post mania, feeling sick and PTSD of am I getting pneumonia again? So
Not as sick.
no,
That should have been the first thing we reported this year. Is John Thorne sitting here healthy
I health, but
Well,
I started feeling
He's a relative term.
for him.
I started feeling like I have like PTSD about it, so like I started feeling some kind of like, oh man, do I have a cough? Like call off work, fucking lock the doors, takes vitamin C, like
What is that, hypochondriac?
Yeah.
it's probably just this time of year,
Yeah.
like
You're like that dude from Creep Show.
What-
Oh
yeah.
No bugs, no dust.
what about Bob too,
Oh, is that what?
You never see What About Bob?
No,
dude?
I go to Creep Show when I talk about that.
Dude, busting out a horror movie reference.
I know it's rare.
I'm not a big Creep Show guy, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dom did have kind of like a talk with everybody in that, and I know a couple weeks ago on the podcast when Twan was on, we kind of got on him about that, but it does apply to everybody at the school, and Zach Thomas is continuing to impress with his opportunities, but as I stated before, this tryout that we did, there's all these guys that are well more experienced and well versed. They're just unknown, and they are gunning for every fucking spot on this roster.
Sure.
And it's
Because they didn't think it was possible before, and now that we've said, "Hey, come try out and show us what you can do," so now they're like,
Floodgates are open.
All right, well, here's what I
Yeah.
can fucking do, And Zach to me is kind of like where Dominic was like 2 years ago. Like he's getting a lot of high profile opponents, and he's getting good spots, and it's like, okay, kid, what can you do?
Yeah.
What can you do with this guy, or what can you do with this spot, or whatever else. And it's a question of when you got to go to training, and that's a question of, okay, well, you walk down the road, you come to the point, you go left, you go right. Which way do you want to go? Do you want to go,
Sure.
well, I'm pretty fucking good because I've wrestled all these guys, and people have told me they've been good matches and everything else, so I'm going to go right, and I'm just going to keep doing that? Or do you go, well, I probably should make sure I keep working and getting better, and you go left?
Also just based on doing this school is just like running a wrestling promotion or being involved. It's constantly learning and figuring things out. And to be perfectly honest, I want to prevent from creating another Alex Daniels who thinks they are too good and believes their own hype, and then becomes a just detriment to everybody around them. So I want to prevent that kind of thing from coming out of the school again.
Well, that's what I just said.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's the idea of
But
Which way
before,
when you get to that point, which way do you take it?
but before we did not know that you could create.
Well, you need an example. You
Right.
need
And-
a negative to accentuate the positive.
And
it's fair to say that he's at a point now where, like, okay, you go out and you have an excellent match with an Eddie Kingston, but now you need to have that same caliber match with somebody that's on your level or lower, right? Like that's
Right.
where
And
Zach
I mean-
Thomas is now, because you're not going to get Eddie Kingston every single time. You're going to have matches with guys that are the exact same level as you, and your match needs to be just.
And
as
the
good
whole
as
point of the school is, you guys that do get this opportunity, I'm speaking directly to the AIW students at this point, is like you have to bring that knowledge back to the school, and you have to share it with your peers, and you have to continue to grow as a unit, or as a team, for lack of a better term. And
I don't know how often you guys do that, like, because I haven't been there in forever. I was actually planning on going pretty soon one day. I know. I'm too fucking busy, and it's a weird time, and it's hard to get there from my office. But anyway, do you guys ever do that where somebody wrestles like an opponent, like a high profile opponent, and let them talk about it for 5 minutes to everybody and go, here's what I learned? Or
the problem is getting that person that wrestles that high profile opponent to show up.
Fair
It's
point.
it's a very roller coaster of who appears and who does not. Sometimes we'll have a full class for
Because when I
Tuesday,
used to
Thursday.
go, not to cut you off, but when I used to go, like a year ago or whenever that was, it was usually pretty much the same people were there all the time.
Now it varies.
Yeah.
Very much. Sometimes we have 2 students and me and Dom, and sometimes it's the entire class and everyone that's ever graduated from the school. And you can't get near the ring.
Do you think that's why? Because maybe it worked better with the. I mean, I know it's impossible for Dominic, but maybe it worked better with the 2 days and 2 days.
I mean, because people just weren't coming.
Okay.
That's why it was ruled. That's why it was changed.
Became a waste for poor Dominic there.
I understand that part of it. I mean, I wouldn't want to go.
Which, not to go off on a tangent, but before fucking talk about dedication, Dominic uprooted his entire life and moved to Cleveland just so he could be closer to the school, and then people don't come. Like, how he has any patience at all?
Doesn't really.
But I'm saying, like, he had a free place to live, and he decided to rent a place here. So he's
gotten very angry.
Well, that's probably why. You know, like.
I've seen the transit. I told him he's becoming the verbally he's becoming the Biggins part 2 of AIW because he just rips into people all the time.
They did spend a lot of time riding together.
Yeah, sometimes I have to say, hey.
Yeah.
Even me, who I met my wits end with people. You got to reel that in, man.
I know. That's how I feel too.
But those are some of my favorite moments when John Thorne has to tell somebody else to reel it in. I just stand there like, yeah.
Because Dominic's got no. He just goes from point A to point Z like that. Like there's no
very
build up.
short.
Yeah.
All right, Steve.
Well,
what is next?
Next one we roll into. John alluded to this previously, but it's our tag team championship match. It's To Infinity and Beyond taking on the Young Studs, Bobby Beverly, Eric Ryan.
Eric tries to die again
Colin,
multiple times.
Eric, of course, trying to die.
The day that ends in Y.
And then we have multiple run-ins towards the end.
Yeah, to set up for the tag title match. This is, okay. It does not fall in my 2.5 for the night. Some good, some bad in this one, just like the rest of the show.
Do you think that's primarily because this was just really a setup, just really to have them out there?
No,
and
I just think Bobby Beverly, I think, had pneumonia, and Eric Ryan was just coming off of like a MRSA infection.
From his arm vagina that he had? Yeah.
So, they're just like beat the shit, and
they don't have the lung capacity. You know what I mean? Like they don't have the cardio there to work a match like maybe they would, especially Bobby if you're coming off of pneumonia.
He's sick.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is, but it serves its purpose to set the angle up for Jersey City, which, was really the main purpose of that.
So our next match we go into, I think, is probably your next one on things.
Well, there's only one left, isn't there?
Yeah,
there's two
left. This is the intense title match between Matt Justice, Dominic Garrini.
Yes, this one is number one of the night. These guys, credit to them, probably like realizing. So here is what is great about this is they realize that this show needs to be saved. But Matthew Justice, always on his quest back to WWE, is having a mental struggle because Billy Kidman is there, who he knew from FCW, and he's like, man, I kind of want to have a fucking classic wrestling match for Billy Kidman, but I also want to have a Matthew Justice AIW match because the show needs it. And he goes back and forth on how this match is going to go probably 40 times throughout the night. And then I think once they get out there, it's all bets are off, and this is the only fucking match that gets an AIW chant. This is the only match of the night that has like the crowd like really up. They do all sorts of crazy shit. Highlight backstage is Joshua Bishop, total fucking idiot, wants to do a run-in looking like what I can only describe as a Christmas tree salesman. He has like a fucking Carhartt work jacket on. Like,
does he have rope and a change thing strapped to his belt?
I swear to God, I was like, you look like a fucking Christmas tree salesman. I was like, dude, Vince McMahon ain't letting no Roman Reigns run in fucking dry, dude. Like, you ever see?
You had to moisten him up.
I had to wet him down. I had to wet.
This is a Patreon exclusive thing too.
It'll be on there eventually, the photos. But I go, dude, like, you've put on 40 pounds of muscle and you want to run in a jacket, a long sleeve shirt, fucking jeans, and fucking construction boots. I was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, this is the most Vince McMahon thing I'll ever say. I was like, you need to fucking take your shirt off and show off that physique, buddy. And I was like, and you gotta fucking spray down. So I go, somebody give me a water bottle. And I have the headset on. I'm calling the cues, and this fucking guy, I'm spraying him down with a fucking water bottle, fucking trying to get him ready for a fucking run-in because he was going to go out looking like he was going to sell somebody a fucking, I don't know, what's a fucking type of a blue spruce Christmas tree.
Nice Douglas fir.
Had to get moist before he went out there.
So I was just fucking, I'm spraying him down. I'm trying to call the fucking show on the headset. And then I go, dude, like, you got to fucking hit some fucking bands too. Like, so I got him fucking hitting the fucking elastic bands. I'm spraying
And you're
him down.
doing all this?
Yeah.
You're a machine back there.
It's the most homoerotic thing I've ever participated in. As I have this guy hitting the fucking stretch bands while I'm spraying him down with fucking a water bottle.
If it was spray tanner, that probably would have been better.
And, by the time he had to do that run-in, he was fucking looking like a superstar.
Nobody was buying trees?
Nobody's buying trees. Shirt off, acid wash jeans, drenched. I was like, you're looking drenched, buddy. And, he goes out there with Wes Barkley with this fucking Jordan fucking jumpsuit on.
His swishy pants?
And,
I think this is one of the points where people start referring to Joshua Bishop as AIW's new Sid because of that look with the jeans and the blonde hair.
He's going for Mike Awesome, but
No, Sid is definitely...
He's more Sid than Mike Awesome.
He's way more Sid, yeah. Because he's got like the elbow sleeves a little bit, and he's got the hair. I mean, the hair is what does it more than anything.
Yeah.
It's approaching mullet-esque, curly Sid status. And that was actually in New Jersey. That was the first thing I thought of holding the microphone. I was like, oh, man, he looks like Sid. And I was just like, don't say that on commentary. Just don't. But I was just like, he looks so much like Sid.
Sid finally made it to AIW after all.
So that's that segment. But this is my my match of the night of my 2.5 good matches on this show.
There were multiple moments.
But there's one left.
Multiple moments in that match.
I didn't see any of this. I don't know.
Multiple moments in that match where I thought that these two were just dead, and I had to get out of my chair to go.
Two dangerous spills to
check
the
on
floor.
them.
Buy the DVD just for this match, I would say.
Yeah, actually, 100%. It's going to be worth it.
So this is a buy recommendation.
Yes.
I told you, it's got 2.5 good matches on the whole show.
All right.
And they're worth it.
And there's
They're worth
one. There's a half of one on the first disc,
which is 20
so you got to watch
long.
both discs.
Yeah.
You got
to buy
discs.
both.
Gotta pop them both in the
That's
DVD
right.
player.
That's right.
So one that didn't make your list, though, is our final match, the Absolute Championship, defended for the first time by one PB Smooth, his first title defense.
Yeah, this
as he takes on MJF.
MJF. I couldn't remember.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
This, there was a lot of people that really tried to talk me out of the decision to put the belt on PB Smooth. I figured, you got to try. And this was kind of like, maybe I was wrong.
Does it matter just you think he's just not ready yet in the sense that he's still trying? It seems to be he's figuring himself out a bit of who he is.
Sometimes he does. It depends on the day. Sometimes he has himself figured out. Sometimes he's different. So, and MJF is bumping around like a madman in this one, and it's just the people were not behind it at all, and nobody could have cared less. And this tombstone on the stage is just probably what I would consider like the worst moment in AIW history. Like I almost left. I literally almost walked out of the building.
What was not having been there and seen it? What was so bad about it?
I mean, you could find it's just bad. It's like a set down on the ramp.
Yeah, it's a move he's never done before.
And I'm not trying to
a surface that.
I'm not trying to bury him. It's just at that point I just went like, this.
So they wanted to do a cool spot, but they didn't really.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things.
They didn't go all out to do the spot.
Well, I will give my inside baseball. I was asked if they could break the ramp, and I said yes. You can break it. So I'm like, okay, here we go.
They're going to go through it.
And they couldn't have protected the ramp more.
Yeah.
And
It was the opposite of the Matt Justice Hell on Earth.
Yeah, from my vantage point, I thought
they wanted to do a dangerous, cool spot, and they just didn't commit to it.
I thought they were protecting the ramp.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Now let me ask you this.
let's just get it over with.
Even though it was brought to you as a question of could we break the ramp, do you think in the back of PB's mind is, ooh, I don't know, I already paid for one fucking garage door this year.
No, if he says yes,
No.
It's AIW property. We could rebuild it.
No, not at
Yeah.
all. It just
We can rebuild it.
it just does not work.
$6 million ramp.
And
You got the money.
we end it. We end the show with the angle to set up the Jersey City thing. Tom Lawler cuts a good promo. And
That got you, I think, right?
I was just happy the show was over, honestly. Because at this point, now you're going into your biggest show ever, with a guy that just did not deliver as the man on top, and it gave me like a lot of second thoughts. And on top of a lot of "Hey, I told you so"s from people, so that did not build the confidence going into the most expensive show we were ever going to do. There was a chance that PB could have left Jersey as the champion still, but like that tombstone sealed the deal for me, to where I said, we got to kind of go back to the drawing board, and he's not ready to be in the spot right now.
So yeah, you have Tom Lawler comes out, Donce comes out, Justice comes out, and as you said, sets up what happens then at Jersey City for our main event there, 4-way for the Absolute title. Then we have the after party at Nax, and that's fine. You get a Sleepy Swoggle. He decided he needed to go to sleep in your car.
Was the after party bad too, or did it rate?
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Fully staffed Nax or typical understaffed Nax?
It was fine. It was fine.
They were appropriately staffed.
Appropriately staffed. Nax.
Tim's trying. Tim's
It's only
getting
been their
girls.
8th try. They should have it figured out by now.
Well, I mean, it was all right. It was fine. Nothing of note.
I will say this: there is a hilarious moment. So I'm sitting at a table with.
Are you talking about when Swoggle did the Undertaker pose when PB walked in?
No, that was funny too. What's that? There is a Kingston MJF moment, but before that one, it's Kingston, MJF, Jock Sampson, and I don't know, somebody else sitting at our table, and all this ECW essentially theme songs are playing on the touch tunes, and Jock Sampson says, "Oh, you could tell we're here with a bunch of marks. They're all playing ECW music." And in my head, I'm like, "Don't say it. Don't say it." He walks away, and Eddie and I just look at each other like, "Yeah, that's all John Thorne playing the music." We just knew, but he was the only one who had no clue.
That's what he does, man.
I know.
He made
What's up with touch tunes?
Two Legs play it at another after party. He was calling. Isn't that the dude?
Ronald Two Legs?
Yeah.
It wasn't. And you were like telling him to
Oh,
play.
at the UXWA after party.
yeah, punch up all kinds of theme music on his laptop.
What else you gonna play around a bunch of wrestlers?
Right.
Got to know your audience.
Dominic Guarini is walked in late. Dom, I don't remember the exact Kingston MJF moment.
There was like a moment where Max and Eddie were talking about something, and Max goes, being a New Yorker, and I thought Eddie was going to kill him. And it was like, "Excuse me, you ain't from New York."
Oh, he just moved there, didn't he?
He's from there.
He's
Oh,
from
he's
there.
from there. Okay.
He's like from the hoity-toity.
He's
parts
from
of
Long
it. Like,
Island,
he's
yeah,
from Long
yeah.
Island.
All right.
Where like Kingston's like from Yonkers, deep down in the hood. So like Maxwell like thinks like New York is like big, like bagel places and like coffee joints.
Yeah.
And like
And
Kingston's
doormen.
doormen, and Kingston's like raised out in the streets. So Kingston took a lot of offense to Maxwell referring to himself as a New Yorker.
I would imagine Maxwell quickly apologized.
Yes, Max has a
Oh, yeah, 'cause
driver's license. He's not that much of a New Yorker.
He's known as a quick apologizer.
Oh well, I mean, I'd apologize to Eddie too if Eddie got mad at me.
That's pretty much it. That wraps this one up. It took us a minute to get into it. That we got into it.
We got through it.
You're
I mean,
welcome.
I bet one of the longer ones in AIW history. No?
No podcast?
Yeah.
No, definitely not. For us, maybe just it felt like it was dragging because John didn't want to talk about it. But that is going to do it here for us this week. Any final comments? I'll say this.
I'm glad I left early. Apparently, that's all. That's what I'll say. Oh well, 2 of them.
For all the comments and everything that potentially we're going to see on Twitter after this, as people listen, and in a day and age where people want to claim someone's getting buried or this and that, when we pull back the curtains and show you behind the scenes on these podcasts, on these episodes, these aren't conversations that aren't had with the people that we're speaking of.
I mean, it's not burying if it's true.
Yeah.
It's like,
But you know what I mean? There's people who are going to be like, oh, you just have to sit there and bash them. It's like, no, we're giving
There are
you...
fans of people that will get mad when you say anything negative.
Exactly.
About
this
them.
whole show was
But,
bad.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
I hated the
what it
show.
is.
Rough at best.
We are...
As it's being my money, it's my right to say that I did not like it.
Yeah.
And I did not like it, and it is not what I anticipated. And the last thing that I'll say on this Tombstone situation is when PB released a statement on it last week and just takes no accountability for it and throws the blame on his opponent. And I thought that was not a way to just move on from it. It's like, I don't know whose idea it was. It doesn't matter whose idea it was. You did it. It did not work. So just accept it and move on.
Let it be what it was.
I mean,
Don't
all
talk
the
about it.
people that we talk about have been around for a long time, are part of the family, if you will, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're in the entertainment business.
Right.
You have to be able, like I said, nobody bats 1,000. You have to be able to take negativity with the positivity. You can't just expect to be someone to fawn all over everything you do every time you do something.
You're 100%
You're
right.
going to have a bad day.
And being brutally honest on this podcast is probably going to be more effective to the people than if I sent them a direct message and said, hey, this was not good.
It's criticism. It's constructive, though.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, John talked about it multiple times throughout this episode. Conversations were had with these people. Talked about talking to Twan and guys already. So just, don't want anybody to get get all worked up over this thing. But that's going to do it here.
Get worked up
Yeah.
if you want. I don't care.
I mean-
it's just I hated this show. If I'm not gonna lie.
That's my point exactly.
If I wanted to lie, I would say buy this fucking amazing show. It sucked. I hate it.
Although you did still tell people
It's
to
got
buy
2.5. It's got 2.5 matches on it. 2.5.
that are worth the money.
2.5.
How much is a DVD?
$14.99.
Worth it.
MP4 cheaper than that.
Well, there you go. 2.5 matches worth it.
Hey,
For the Duke,
that
for
match is better than nothing.
Dr. Dan, for John Thorne, and a brief moment of Dominic Greeny. My name's Steve Guy. We'll talk to you here next week on The Card is Going to Change.